Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again, federal election 2025. And with that comes the well-known question, who is best at ruining our housing market? CDU, CSU, SPD, Greens, FDP, Left, AFD, BSW, or maybe Elon Musk, with a dystopian Mars shared apartment where rent is paid in cryptocurrency? We took a close look at the party's election manifestos to find out who wants what, who lies best, and who has the most creative plan to keep us all in tenancy forever until we voluntarily move into tiny houses made of recycled Amazon boxes. Chapter 1. CDU, the concrete lovers. The CDU believes in the age-old economic mantra, if you build more, everything will be cheaper. Sure, if you stack enough houses on top of each other, you suddenly have an affordable 80 square meter apartment in the middle of Berlin, ideally with a view of Berlin Airport, which has now been converted into a retirement home. Their plan, less bureaucracy, more construction, fewer regulations. Building permits should be issued as quickly as a Tinder match. Swipe right once, and you've got a high rise. Will that work? Well, at least they promise that families will pay less tax when they buy a house. Sounds good, as long as you can afford a house. And if not, there's always the option of being adopted by Aunt Hannelore. Chapter 2. SPD, the Tenant Protection Force. The SPD says, rents are far too high, get rid of them. That's why they want to make the rent cap permanent, limit rent increases, and set up a state-run housing company. Then maybe they'll finally build the apartments we've needed for 20 years. Maybe, at some point, promised. But this time for real. And who can't pay? Housing benefit for everyone, except for landlords who then get nothing. Particularly exciting. The SPD is planning a rent cap for students. This means that a room in a shared apartment cannot cost more than a mediocre meal in the cafeteria, or in other words, 400 euros. The only question is, will students then find apartments, or will they have to continue sleeping in the library? Chapter 3. The Greens. Climate protection meets tenant protection. The Greens say, tenant protection is good, but climate protection is better. Their plan, regulate rent prices, punish speculators, and promote energy-efficient residential buildings. Sounds great, until your landlord passes the renovation onto you and you suddenly pay 200 euros more because your house is now CO2 neutral and the solar panels on the roof are streaming live on Instagram. Also, stricter rules against index rents and a fight against real estate speculation. Financial sharks should no longer be allowed to buy up city districts. The only question is, will there still be enough investors who will voluntarily renovate a rental property, or will we all end up in tiny houses made of biodegradable waste paper? Chapter 4. FDP, the Builder's Paradise. The FDP is doing what it does best. Deregulation, rent control, get rid of it. Rent cap, for God's sake. More property for everyone. And who can't afford property? Well, tough luck. In return, they want to reduce taxes for home buyers. So if your parents happen to have 500,000 euros to spare, nothing stands in the way of your first home. And with every child you have, you save another 100,000 euros. That's basically the FDP version of children are our future. So come on, anyone who has 3 children will soon get a home for free. Chapter 5. The Left and BSW. Expropriation for everyone. The Left and the BSW, the two twins, have a clear plan. Housing is a human right, so let's expropriate the real estate sharks. Rent caps, more social housing, and the socialization of housing companies. Sounds good. Until the Federal Constitutional Court comes along and says, wait a minute, it's not possible. Then all we can hope for is a communist housing market or a night on an air mattress in Berghain. Chapter 6. FD. Immigration is to blame. And the AFD, they say, the housing market is broken because too many people live here. Their solution, less immigration, more building land, and less regulation. So basically the CDU in radical. And if that doesn't help, the word housing crisis will simply be renamed Homeland Security Problem. So what can we learn from this? Some want to build more, others want to regulate more. Who is right? No idea. In the end, everything will remain expensive anyway. But at least you can vote on your own misery. Let us know which party convinces you. Write it in the comments, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and if you find a room in a shared flat for under 500 euros, let us know.